Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to recap all the latest announcements for Astra Militarum. As you know, there's been a raft of new models announced, bringing a fresh look to our Cadians. Also this last week, some rules have been released by GW, but also a ton of rules were also leaked, courtesy of Morty and Glory, showing some very juicy rumours. These were then also picked up by Auspex Tactics and shared on. So from a model point of view, we've got a new Cadian Infantry squad that's been released. These look great, bringing a fresh look to these tooled up Cadians, and it's definitely something we need after 20 odd years of the same models. There are some neat little details like rubber bands on buttstocks, which, having served in the infantry, is something I used to do as a way to secure my weapon sling. However, while they do look great, a word of caution is the amount of detail could add a lot more painting time when grinding out 60 odd infantry models. Critically, they retain the same base size as existing Astra Militarum infantry models, which means our current infantry could be used. Also announced are new heavy weapon teams, which again look great, but as said before, detail on a horde army isn't always your best friend. The latest intel does indicate that these heavy weapon teams' bases will be reducing in size, which is going to make for some very annoying hobby projects, having to convert them to smaller bases. Likewise, the new Sentinel models look absolutely fantastic, but personally I saw nothing wrong with the old ones. Annoyingly, these two are said to be getting a different base size, and I'm going to struggle to convert my 3 Sentinels from their old bases. And finally, new Company Commander and Command Squad. These all look great, but like the heavy weapon teams and Sentinels, they are getting new base sizes going from 25mm to 28.5. Why any of the mentioned units are changing their base sizes is puzzling to me. What was wrong with the current base sizes? Increasing the Command Squad and Company Commander kind of makes sense, given they may play a more heroic role in the new codex, but I don't think there are any other armies with varied base sizes across similar size models. I mean, for example, Custodes all have the same base size across all their infantry size models. So what to do with these base size issues? An opportunity to buy new shiny models. For the Command Squad and Company Commander, simply buy some base adapters. I got all excited and bought 10 from eBay for £5. For the Sentinels and heavy weapon teams, don't do anything yet until it's all confirmed. Rumours are only rumours, so don't do anything until 100% sure. As said before, these new minis look absolutely great, and a range refresh was definitely needed. But I personally won't be buying any of these as I simply don't need them. Right, as to the actual new units, there are the Ordnance Batteries and Kazrakans. As announced, the Ordnance Batteries will be included in the Army set, and Kazrakans in a Kill Team box, consequently costing you more hobby dollars. In the Army, and the new Army sets, I personally only really want is the Ordnance Batteries and the new codex. And I'm hoping the new codex goes on pre-sale the same time as the Army set does, as I prefer not to spend more money than I have to. Likewise, the Kazrakans are a new unit of recent history, but I won't be buying any of them until I've seen the new codex, or at minimum their data sheet. All these new releases are obviously very exciting, and rightly so, given we haven't had a lot of new news in recent years. However, don't get caught up in all the hype. We've all seen the hottest new thing be released by GW with apparently powerful rules that could dominate things on the tabletop, but Nerf Hammer obviously is a real thing. Of course, at the time of recording, only limited rules have been officially announced, and no actual pre-sale date has been set. Right, with all the shiny toys examined, let's now look at the rules that we know about. Firstly, the Regimental doctrines. The 9th edition codex will see us being able to take 2 doctrines, so similar to the existing custom doctrines from the Psychic Awakening the Greater Good. There are a combo of themed doctrines and some brand new ones. Now, initially eyeballing these, nothing in here is bonkers good, which I think is a good thing. Bombardiers implies any indirect artillery by Astra Militarum will move in line with a balanced data slate, incurring a -1 to hit if it can't see the target. Heirloom weapons is a shorter version of spotted details, But critically, at this stage, it could be on all weapons, including pistols and flamers. And brutal strength looks a bit odd unless you're fielding whole weapon teams that could move and shoot their las cannons, for example, without any negative hit modifiers. Guerrilla fighters is an improved version of wilderness survivors, and Swift of the Wind has been reshaped from improving a unit shooting out opportunity to a flat movement increase. Trophy Hunters is an improved version of Monster Hunters, now including vehicles and improving its statistical chance of doing something, giving Monster Hunters had you hoping for 6s to wound, which of course was always less likely. So those that do stand out as being strong are mechanized infantry. As we'll see later, the order move has been toned back, but you could now send an infantry squad a full 28 inches in a Crimea. Move it the full 12 inches, an infantry squad disembarks within 3 inches, move them a further 6, get off an average 7-inch charge into your opponent, and there's your 28 inches. So Harlequins and Drakari at your heart out. We'll have to see any restrictions on this, but I'm hoping that turn 1 charges could become a possibility in our new codex. The other one I'm excited about is armoured superiority. Just like what Knights got in their new book, our vehicles will count for more than one model now. It's interesting, Sentinels are specifically called out as counting as 3 models, and all other vehicles count as 5. Does this mean my favourite unit, the Hades Beach and Drill, will now count as 5 models? I certainly hope so. As we'll also see later, tank orders have been revamped, with one being able to allocate OBSEC, so my 5 model count Breaching Drill could be OBSEC as it plows into 5 Intercessor Space Marines. Blitz Division and Recon Operators look good, but will be more opponent dependent, or whether you're fielding enough cavalry or sentinels to justify an army doctrine. Interestingly, Elite Shock Troops allows you to reroll 1 hit roll per unit. So on the face of this, it doesn't seem like much, but as we move on to orders, its value will be understood. So orders look to be getting a massive revamp. Firstly, tank commanders can give orders at 12 inches, which is a nice increase, given 6 inches is a little bit silly for a vehicle supposedly equipped with a radio. A point to make is that we can also expect only 1 of each type of officer to be allowed in each detachment, just like in other armies. So no more triple tank commanders sitting in a battalion detachment. So firstly, front rank fire, second rank fire has been kind of buffed, but also nerfed. Moving to heavy 3 means at longer ranges you're getting off more shots than the old order, but less at closer range. The inclusion of the word heavy also implies that if the unit moved in the preceding turn, they'll receive a -1 to hit. So math hammer time, and you'll see that at longer ranges, you should get the same number of shots hitting from both heavy 3 and rapid fire 2 for 9 lasgun equipped guardsmen. However, at rapid fire range, you'll be landing roughly half as many from heavy 3 than rapid fire 2. Now this assumes that the unit has moved, but if they didn't move, an ballistic skill of 4+ means on average you'll be landing 5 more at longer ranges and only 4 less at rapid fire 2 range. So a bit of a head screw, but I'd say on the balance of things, we're probably actually in the same place with this one. Right, next is Take Aim and Fix Bayonets, which will now both get a flat buff to ballistic skill and weapon skill and also AP. Now this is pretty big. A ballistic skill and weapon skill 3+ guardsman will be glorious. Guardsmen will now go from hitting 50% of the time to 66% of the time, a massive improvement. Rerolling 1s to hit was only an 8% improvement at ballistic skill 4+. An interesting thought here is that supercharging plasma guns may become a thing of the past, and as said earlier, the Elite Shock Troop doctrine may be the way to go if you're fielding plenty of plasma guns. Take Cover is a great inclusion, being formerly a 1 command point stratagem. This could do great work in turn 1, giving a forward deployed infantry squad an extra lease on life. As said earlier, move, however, has been kind of nerfed. Gone are the days of sending an infantry squad an average 18 inches. At least, however, a 2+ and an automatic 6-inch move will be more reliable. And suppression fire could be cool, depending if it impacts enemy units on both their ballistic skill and weapon skill, which could dampen some crazy melee units with weapon skill of 2+ before they blend an infantry squad. Next, tank orders that have increased from a previous only 3 of them to 6. These holistically are a massive buff, with our gunner's kill on sight remaining the same. Pound them to dust is formally locked to only Cadians, can now be used by all. Its mechanic takes a bit of time to absorb, but should be viewed in the context that grinding advance will no longer be a thing, and Leman Russ turrets are said to be able to shoot even when in melee. And a new rule called turret weapons gives turret weapons a +1 to hit. I had heard this rumour a little while ago from a reputable source, and what this tank order means is that 3 to 5 models in the target enemy unit means you're at least rolling a minimum of 3, and when it's 6 to 10 you're rolling the maximum. What we don't know yet is the weapon profile of a Leman Russ turret weapon, but if we go by the Chaos Vindicator with its Demolisher siege cannon, then a heavy D3+3 looks to be in order. Next, full throttle looks really good. Send a vehicle hurtling up the board, and being able to fire all weapons normally could cause some real turn 1 carnage. A unit I'm hoping gets a bit of a revamp is Hellhounds. Get this suicide bus up in your opponent's face early, compressing them in the deployment zone. Sure, they're going to probably destroy it, but if you position it right, it's hopefully going to detonate and cause impact on plenty of enemy units. One stratagem I'm praying GW have included is Suicidal Explosion Stratagem. And I hope GW have been viewing my Hopes and Dream videos over the last couple of years. Next, Blitz them could be cool, but probably only in certain circumstances, and likewise pinning fire. Where the money is, of course, is shock and awe. As said earlier, this could stack very well with the Regimental doctrine of armoured superiority. So tank orders are greatly improved, and I think they're going to make a very big positive impact on our army win rates. A note of caution, however, is that with so much tactical power coming from tank commanders and company commanders to a lesser degree, I'd say tank commanders will be even more of a target than they currently are. And with the expected restriction on the commander type per regiment, losing one could be a massive blow to your game plan. Okay, next is the Prefector's orders that will apparently work on only infantry. Now this is a great addition, giving Commissars a real reason to be played again. We had all hoped that we'd be getting some kind of buff, and this most certainly is one. What will be interesting is whether an infantry unit can receive an order from both a company commander and Commissar, but I'd actually doubt that pretty certainly. So forwards for the Emperor and Get Back in the Fight are pretty much the same, with Get Back in the Fight giving you the additional ability to also charge and could be helpful. The rest are all new orders. Duty and Honour could be very helpful in early parts of the game, and Get Off Raised Banners or R&D, whilst Remain Vigilant could be helpful in the right circumstances. Show Them Steel, Show Them Contempt would be great against Thousand Suns or Grey Knights, with a forward deploying infantry squad acting as a smite sponge and at least having a chance of surviving the ordeal. Like the tank orders though, where the money is at all costs, giving out OBSEC or increasing an OBSEC units to +1 models. I feel between this and the tank order of Shock and Awe, Astra Militarum may be able to hold primary objectives, something which we so desperately need. Okay, and finally wrapping together Warlord traits, relics and tank ace abilities. So my pick of the bunch so far is Superior Tactical Training, with the unit being able to take another order set, be it infantry, tank or commissar orders. This would turn them into an absolute powerhouse, and assuming company commanders can still issue 2 orders per turn, this could be absolutely brilliant. Lead by the front could also be helpful, and we know that company commanders will now be wrapped into a command squad, which we'll assume will have some pretty decent rule-wise. Also, the command squad is rumoured to be able to take a Bulgrim bodyguard, taking all the wounds at toughness 5, and we can also assume a 4+ invul save from its brute shield. So my earlier concern about losing a company commander could be looked after here. Right, relic wise, there are some more goodies. Barbican's Key allows one infantry unit to be teleported anywhere on the board. If this requires only the infantry keyword, you could pick up and drop down a blob of Bulgrams and cause absolute mayhem. Just the thought that this could be done will cause your opponent to compress their movement. Quality Killer is also being buffed to now cost an additional 1 CP to your opponent on one stratagem for the rest of the game. Similar to a Drukari rule, this could be great if used correctly. The Battle Cannon Gatekeeper has also been suitably improved, and the Order of Bastions Stellaris, this pronunciation there, gives transfusion physiology. Let's hope a squad of Bulgrams could take it. And finally, Laurels of Command could be great for issuing either shock and awe on a vehicle, or at all costs by a Commissar to turn off an opponent's primary objective or action. What the exact wording is and how this interacts with a game sequence will have be crucial to how potential this is. And very lastly, our tank aces. Again, some goodies in here. My favourite here so far are those that buff survivability, with Mechanical Pact giving a tank commander trance tankiology, which if Armour of Content still remains could be comical to watch. A Knight of Piety flips the math and gives you a fly plus invul save, but realistically it would take an AP -5 weapon for this to even pay off if Armour of Contempt still hangs around. And finally, Master of Camouflage could be great on a Baneblade. Something else which has also been leaked is that a Baneblade could be made into a tank commander and able to order other super heavies around. So presenting the opportunity to maybe field multiple Baneblades, which could be finally a reality. Right, so enough of that. I know there's a lot more out there, but I thought I'd capture some of the key ones to me. These are of course just mostly rumours, and rumours are still rumours. However, it's all looking pretty realistic from what I can see. So massive props to Morty and Glory for showing the love to everybody, and also to some of my patrons who gave me the ideas for this video. With special thanks going to Tank Commander Glenn. So keep your bayonet sharp, lasgun oiled, faith in the Emperor strong, patron platoon, sound off. Tank Commander Glenn, Tank Commander Mitchell, Tank Commander Watchdog Van Etten, Colour Sergeant DuPont, Sergeants Udall, Gilliam, the Colonel Merrill, Veterans Gibson, Hall, Lundeen, Guardsman's Beard, Coquelin, Flint, Hills, Malik, Nitton, Nguyen, Smith, Tom, Tompkin, Conscript Bosun, England, Goodwin.